Good morning. It is 7:08 a.m. on Tuesday, May the 10th, 2022. I'm Christiana Ellis and I have a little bit of a headache this morning. This is 5 more minutes. I mean, I will be okay, but I don't know if it's like caffeine withdrawal or what, but just a little bit of a not ready to get up. Uh I also I'm having to spread Rocket's food out over the course of the day, I think, because I think he's getting some acid tummy when it's been a long time but since his last meal, because he's been having 2 meals a day for a while. But sometimes that means that if he eats dinner at his regular dinner time and then doesn't have anything else to fill his tummy over the course of the evening, then that's a relatively long time and waiting until all the way until we get up in the morning to have his breakfast. And so I think that that's feeding his recent tendency to want to get up earlier and earlier. So we're working on that. That's a relatively new thing. Yeah, I'm still a little fuzzy too. Like I got enough. Like I will be fine. It's one of those things where I got enough sleep, so I know that like once I get out of this sort of brain waking up phase, I will feel fine. But I am still in that phase right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's how these things go. So yesterday I finished watching the Marvel Inhumans show, which only has 8 episodes because it wasn't very good. Uh, the reason I watched it, I won't get into spoilers, but let's just suffice to say that something made me think of it recently. And I was thinking about it just specifically in the context that it's pretty much the only MCU thing that I hadn't seen. Seen all the movies, I watched all the shows, even watched all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, but I didn't ever watch The Inhumans, partly just because it didn't look very good. And then the review said that it wasn't very good. And so I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I'm curious. I'm curious enough that I'll put it on in the background while I do other stuff. And so yesterday I finished it, and I can certainly confirm everything that everyone has heard about how it's not very good. But I feel like it's not good in fascinating ways. For one, it actually has a great cast. I think the cast is actually very good. Anson Mount, who is now uh, getting his due praise as Captain Pike in the new Star Trek show, plays Black Bolt. And given that he has the substantial hurdle to clear playing a character who cannot speak, that's that's hard for an actor, but I think he does a great job. I think the rest of the cast is good, but I think pretty much all of the show's ills can be laid at the feet of the writers and I don't know, like the budget, I guess, but that's still in some ways writing because it's one thing to say that you can make a great show that's a bit of a less expensive show, right? But maybe the subject matter you pick for the not expensive show isn't the one about the family of superpowered people who live on the moon. Just a thought. Um, Emblematic of the show's problems is that they take the character whose whole thing is that she has prehensile hair that she can control, hair powers. And then it makes it look, the effects of it look great the 2 times she gets to use it. And then they shave her head in the first episode. So then, not only does the character have to go around with a shaved head for the whole rest of the show, but no powers. And it's so obvious that they did that because it's probably expensive to animate the hair powers, and they didn't want to do that. But okay, but at a certain point, it just starts being like, well, but then what are we even doing here? And the dialogue is bad, and the plotting is labored, and it makes some really ill-considered choices. And I mean, because it really it presents the heroes who are as the people who are trying to maintain the status quo of an isolated city with an extremely rigid caste structure. And it kind of hints at maybe there's this big threat that they have to stay ready for, and that's why they've been trying to maintain stability at all other costs. They kind of don't really get into it. And, at the same time, yeah, you know what? What I'll just tell you is that you're not really missing anything. I didn't hate watching it because I did actually like the cast enough that I cared about the characters a bit, but mostly it's just not good. And it also is not probably something you really need in order to, uh, to follow anything else, because the show is bad enough that it's basically just been like nobody remembers that it even happened unless you count um, things. Like I highly doubt that any future show is going to assume that you've seen it, right? Like, if any of it ever gets referenced again, it will always come with enough information for you to understand what's happening without you needing to watch the show. So, give everyone permission. If you're ever curious, don't bother. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. I'm not forbidding you, but I'm just saying, it's not some misunderstood gem that was actually better than people said. No, it's not. All right. I will leave it there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.